Okay, people, we are live after some technical difficulties. I don't know what's happened. It's overheating or something, like mad thing. But I think we're on. Yeah, like people hit me up in the comments, man. Let me know what you can see, if you can see us, if you can hear us. Things are going a bit mad right now. But yeah, we're gonna share out the link again as anyway. And get this popping properly. So let us just hit me up in the comments, man. Let me know you can get us what you can see. As always, please hit subscribe, please hit like, get the bell icon on, let people know we're out here. The support has been mad. The amount of messages I've got from people who are like, yo, this is the best entertainment for lockdown has been nuts. So yeah, please keep that up. Because it's mad appreciated. So yeah, please share this link. We've had a bit of a mess up with the links, but yeah, share this new one. Let people know we're out here, man. So yeah, let's just big up the guest for today, man. Like Shao Dow, what you saying, bro?
Yeah, Jenny, how you going, man?
I'm good. I'm liking the hat, man.
Of course. Well, no, it's quarantine hairstyles right now. I'm looking like that black guy from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, wait, hold on. I started this wrong, man. I should have started with a Genki desu ka?
Genki desu yo. Amato wa?
Nah, I'm stopped. I'm done, man. I'm done now. I was gonna be like, I was just gonna do. Oh,
Pongo wa jouzo desu ne.
I've been trying, bro. I've been trying.
Yeah,
but
you understand.
I've been,
Me.
yeah, like I can
On Duolingo. I see you on Duolingo.
I can get bits and pieces, but it's so sporadic, man. It's so sporadic.
Yeah.
I just be dropping the so dane, like
Yeah. To trick them, you have to be like eto. You know the noises that you make just to pretend like you know what.
I've been doing like, so even when I'm not actively learning, I watch a lot of I watch the news in Japanese.
Oh,
so
sick.
just to like get out those 10,000 hours of listening time in, and I feel like that's kind of helped a little bit. And obviously watching, like, manga doesn't help me. Manga don't help me at all. Like,
No, but it's not going to.
Nah.
It's not going to.
Like live action programs help quite a lot. And I'll tell you what's really helped. There's a program called Terrace House.
Okay.
And it's like Japanese Big Brother. That's helped a lot.
I've heard about this.
It's like, obviously, real Big Brother I would never watch, but that, because it's kind of like you're dealing with you're seeing how people interact with each other culturally. You're seeing like the questions they ask. You're getting again different dialects as well. And it just, yeah, man, it definitely helped. But how's yours been going? I know you've been on it. You've been on it.
I've been going kind of ham with it, to be honest, just because you know my whole thing is I want to come out of lockdown with at least some kind of new skill, and that's not to say that everybody needs to do that, or that if you don't do something then you're a waste man or waste girl, you know, gender equality and all that. But just for me personally, I want to know that I've made use of my time. So I've been doing hours on Duolingo. I've been studying like just different areas, obviously watching a whole load of anime. But if as I always say to people, like, don't try and speak Japanese from anime, because you'll be calling old people old geezer and telling people you bastard and all sorts. So it's not, but it's good for listening. But it's just fun. I don't even know why I'm learning it at this point. I just want to be a black guy who speaks Japanese for no reason.
You know what? It's funny because I'm kind of I don't even know how it started. Like, I honestly don't know. It's like one day because I was learning Spanish for a little while, and then Spanish was fine because I was going to Spain quite a lot, and then somehow, some way, Japanese just started coming up. And bearing in mind, I was learning Chinese for like years ago, after coming back from Taiwan, but this kind of Japanese culture, man, everything about it just kind of
it's
spoke
dope
to me, man. I was just
yeah.
like, yeah. So, but yeah, the one thing I have learnt from manga, nandayo. That's my that's my one, man.
I like Nanda Korea.
Yeah, man. So let's we go back like quite a long way, yeah. And it's funny because like you don't look at time, and you just get on with your life and you're just doing stuff. But I think the first time I really kind of saw you was in the CD selling days.
Yeah.
With Zuby, and you two were like doing the you lot were doing what we were doing, and it's funny because like the way I always saw it, yeah. Back in those days, yeah, like the CD selling guys. Obviously, it starts with kind of in my eye, starts in Mike GLC, yeah. He's like I know he tries to say he's not a gangster, but he's a gangster, whatever. Like now he's not, but whatever. But back then, yeah, it was him and his lot, a bunch of G's, yeah. Then it was kind of like us who were kind of like, I don't know, just not really like them, but just kind of, you know what I mean, just doing our thing. And then there was you and Zuby who were just totally different, who just came with it at a different approach. And it's funny because if you look at the way it evolved, how you evolved the game, it was so business minded. You just did everything right, and it's almost like it was definitely a blueprint for how that business was supposed to be mapped out. But how did you get into doing that in the first place?
You know, do you remember Dub Plate Drama?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was studying, I used to watch Dub Plate Drama, and there was just one episode where I think it was Big Nasty, Shiesty, and Dappy went out and tried to sell some CDs, and it didn't go so well for them. But I thought, yo, that's something. So I bought a CD printer, and I had a couple songs. So I thought, yeah, let me just try a thing. So I went out on the high street and just talk to people. You know, I didn't know what I was doing at this point. I didn't even know other people really did it. Like I'd heard about like Ludacris selling CDs out the trunk of his car and this one and that one, but I didn't even know that people in the UK really did it like that. So, and bearing in mind I was in Oxford at the time, so it's not like anyone was really coming there to sell CDs. So I just went out on the high street, gave it a try. A couple people said no. I cried for a bit, and then it's like, oh, cool. And then eventually I managed to sell one. I thought, okay. Then I sold another one, and I remember one time very, very, very clearly I was low on money, blown the student loan on one thing or another, and was thinking I don't want to call the parents up for money. I'm gonna try, and I'm not gonna get paid from work for a little bit. So let me just try it and see what I could do. So I went out on the high street, spent about 4 hours out there, and made 90 quid. And at that point it was like a light bulb switched on in my head. I was like, I didn't know you could just take your music direct to the fans and make money from that. I thought like the label had to be involved. I thought you had a manager, this and this. So it was at the time it was fantastic, and you know what the money was like. It was silly. It was like you could print your own money. And the more important part was that you was able to directly connect with your fans. You were able to talk to people and let them know why you're doing what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it was fantastic. But then obviously things like YouTube came along, iTunes, and it completely killed it. But just for the simple fact of being able to look a person in their eye and explain to them why you're so passionate about what you're doing, why you're out there standing out in the street, probably in the rain. That was the wave, and it took me a lot of places, literally every single major city in this country. I learned a bit of French and went to France, sold some CDs there, sold some in Czech Republic, Germany, couple floating around in Brazil. Just all over, man. So
I think it's funny because like the idea that people have of CD selling, even then at the time, people used to look at it like it was kind of like, oh, you're busking. Like it's like one step up from busking. And to be fair, that part was quite cool because it kept us like under the radar, and it was never like it was never a problem. No one ever thought we were making real money. And then after a while, people started realizing like, oh, right, you making money. I remember one time being outside Trocadero. That was my spot for a long time. And so what would happen was the I don't know if it was the Filipinos or whatever, they'd be selling weed there, innit? That was their weed spot. So the guy used to come past me all the time. And he one time he stopped me, he's like, what are you doing there, man? I'm like, I'm selling CDs. And he's like, man, you should be selling weed, man. Look at this money. And I'm like, bro, pull that my way. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're eating, but we're eating too, and I ain't got to run from anybody. And he was shocked. He was like, raw. And around that time, like, bearing in mind, there were so many of us doing it. Even especially like, you know, it was like an Oxford Street and in Central, and you might have a situation where I was outside Trocadero, Terror and AC would be Leicester Square, and then
yeah.
Drastic would be round the corner. Like you and Zuby might be round there as well, and it was just, but everybody was walking away with money. It was a mad time.
It was weird because the feds really had a problem.
Nah.
Like I don't know what, you had to have your licenses sorted out, and they'd still come and harass you and all sorts. And it was like, I'm trying to make legal money here. I remember actually, I flipped it on one guy. I was in Canterbury, selling CDs, and out of nowhere, this brother just comes up and grabs me by the wrist.
Yeah.
And is like, undercover police. We've been watching you. We want to know what you're doing. And I looked the man in the face. I said, "You're gonna need to take your hand off me." And he's like, "No, you're gonna run." I was like, "No. You need to take your hand off. I know my rights. I'm a law student. I know what my rights are. You need to take your hand off me. I'm not having a discussion with you till you take your hand off me." And then suddenly, as soon as he heard law, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." Them ones. So, and he's like, "Yeah, we've been watching you on the cameras. Felt you were being a bit suspicious. Just wanted to know what you're doing." I was like, "Well, officer, I'm actually selling my music, which I've worked extremely diligently on. It's promoting positivity and encouraging the young people not to indulge in things such as narcotics and illegal weaponry and all sorts. But I kind of feel like the police are against those sorts of things." And he was like, "Oh well, I'm really sorry. You were dressed in all black and we didn't really know what was going on." "Oh, sorry, officer. Are you saying that the color black is suspicious?" I had him on the ropes, but at the end of it, in the middle, we were talking, right, and a squad car pulls up along the street really slowly. Right. The guy's waving me on. And in the end, the guy was so embarrassed. He was like, "Oh, so what sort of music is it?" "Oh, well," I went straight into my sales pitch on him. Guy drew for the wallet and bought the
CD. It's crazy, man. I think like because we used to have a problem with Westminster with certain police officers, and that didn't come from us. It came from the Oxford Street lot. Raw and them, man, because they were like going and they used to go on crazy. They used to sell like blank CDs sometimes. It's mad. So I had the security at Trocadero were always cool with me. They were like, what they used to do, if any other CD seller that wasn't one of us used to come along, they would call the feds on them. But me, they would let me chill. So I'd be there like, it was like the guy was proper safe. And then there was another officer who used to patrol, who wasn't I guess he was Met, but he wasn't, because they got the different lot, the Westminster lot, innit? But he was, I don't think he was one of them. But anyway, he came over to me one time and was like, what you doing, man? Told him what I was doing. And from then on, he would always, whenever he saw me, he'd always be like, "Yep, you good? How's it going? How's business?" Yeah. Like, and he was just like, he was actually I did a video for Industrial Revolution where I was selling CDs in the video, and he's actually in the video. Like, I was like, "You want to be in the video?" He's like, "Yeah, all right, cool." See,
that's, like just a reasonable human being makes all the difference. And it's crazy to me because it's kind of like the council especially loved to roll up. Like
they were worse than feds.
Yeah, as if they're police officers or as if they have any real power to speak of. And it's kind of like, well, what is it that you want me to do here? Because I'm trying to run a legitimate business, make some income for myself and fund my music career. Yeah. And you're my licenses, but you're directly stopping me. So it's as if you're trying to push me into doing illegal things instead. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense to me.
And it's funny though, but if you think back to that time, there's so many like conversations I had with police officers. That's probably the only time in my life where I would have feds talk to me on a regular basis. And I remember one time having there was a female police officer who was actually, she wasn't in uniform, but she actually used to work in Brixton. And she was like, "Oh my God, like what you lot are doing is really good. Like we need to see more of it," and that kind of stuff. And it was like, yeah, man, it's really could work. But like you said, then all of a sudden, at the peak of it, that's when iTunes came in, and then it just started declining. So yeah, by the time like 2000, because the thing is, you lot carried on a bit longer than me, because I stopped in 2008, and you lot were still kind of doing your thing, but again you lot had evolved with it, so you went then did the
we were going up north where people really using stuff like iTunes or YouTube too much. Right. You started to notice it a little bit. And it wasn't a rapid decline, but it was definitely a decline. You wouldn't be making the same money in a day, and people who would normally have bought would be like, oh, are you on YouTube or are you on iTunes?
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, you don't want to tell them, no, don't go and find me there. Come
Yeah.
and buy my CD right now, because ultimately a fan and people to listen to your music. But short term, it was hurting the pocket,
Yeah.
and you definitely had to think of a way to evolve.
So the evolution you lot kind of went into was you went into the shopping centers.
Yeah.
And then you were also the first to diversify what you were selling. So you weren't just selling CDs, you were selling all kinds of merch.
Yeah. So it was kind of just like, I got tired of being cold. I didn't want to be outside anymore, because I'd sold CDs in the snow, in the rain. Yep. I was on crutches at one point, and I just, yeah, it was literally, I just didn't want to be cold. I didn't want my entire income to be dependent on whether it's going to rain or not.
Yeah.
So, it just kind of occurred to Zuby and I that maybe shopping centers might be the way forward. Maybe we can get some sort of installation in a shopping center or something like that. And it's really, we had some great people who really got it in the shopping centers, and then we had some people who were such absolute jobs worths, and it's kind of like, I don't understand you. Do you want money or you don't? You know, I'm offering you money to literally just stand in an empty space in your shopping center that you can't fill at the moment, and just let me do my thing. I don't need much. Just let me just talk to people, and I'll look after myself. And they want like public liability up to 10 million. Yeah. They want to pay through the nose for this kind of stuff, and it's really weird. So the shopping centers that got it, they got a lot of money from us, and they got a lot of business from us. But the ones who didn't, and this is kind of on a larger scale why I feel that the high street is dying a strong death, and why you can go to pretty much any shopping center in the country and it's the same shops in every single one, because they're the only ones who can afford to be in there. Whereas the independent shops and the ones who actually give a sense of personality to the area can't afford it, because the shopping centers are raising up the prices every year, and you're just getting generic shops every time, and people are just going to continue to shop online, and all of these in-person shops are just going to disappear.
It's funny as well, because what you were doing essentially was really like, you were doing pop-up shops.
Yeah.
And that model hadn't really been like widely rolled out at the time you were doing them. So you were kind of like really, you were probably the first time I'd ever seen someone just say, do what you were doing in the way you were doing it. And if you look at Box as like, you know,
Box Park,
right. So that model has really helped them to grow. And it's funny what you're talking about, the shopping centers. All the shopping centers are dying or losing money for the sheer fact that you're charging people way too much money for the real estate. And also at the same time, more people are shopping online. And I feel like you said, you got the same shops all over the place. The thing that would bring people back to shopping centers, if you had that diversity of places you can go. Like, it'd be cool to see. I'd love to be in a situation, I'm walking around shopping center and I just see some random guy selling their CD and their merch. To me, that'd be like, oh, okay, that's cold. I didn't expect to see that.
This would be like, go to a shopping center, because you can't, you can't get that online. You can't meet an artist online. It doesn't even need to be an artist. It could be anybody or anything. But the point is, it's just like the prices of these shopping centers. They don't seem to understand that. Maybe don't charge me as much as you possibly can now, and I will spend more money with you over the long term. But people want instant gratification. It's
super to talk about. I was like, you've done like a lot of things. We could talk about music this whole time, but there's a lot of things that you've done outside of music. And I also feel like I still want to talk about music for a little bit. I just want to talk about your mindset as an independent artist, because the way, like, I get a lot of pats on the back for being a successful independent artist who's done it by himself and
absolutely kill it.
But at the same time, I look at that you're an inspiration, because you've been doing the same thing and you've been hitting again all these different angles and finding spots in places, or finding avenues in places that most people wouldn't really think of. And I feel like that's what's giving you the edge. There's not a lot of people that can boast the accolades that you have. When did you decide that being an independent artist was gonna be right. This okay, cool. This is it for me. This is the way I'm gonna go down. This is it. Was it for the freedom, or what was it about being an independent artist that gave you that that inspiration?
I don't like being told what to do. I think fundamentally, like it never really sat well with me, even before I understood the music industry to the degree that I do now. Never sat well with me to sign to a label and then be dictated to in terms of what kind of music I make, what my image is, how I present myself, etc., etc. When I don't even really know myself, you know. So, there was one time I almost got signed actually to 2 labels at the same time. There were 2 labels who were competing for me. One of them was the same label that had Bashi, and the other was a new label that I'd met the CEO at the backstage at the games after show party. And the guy invited me to come in. It was at the time I was promoting Are You Stupid?
Right.
And the guy invited me to come in. We talked and everything, and he wanted to sign the track and subsequently put me on some sort of deal. So I was like, okay, cool. But then the legal knowledge in me came out. I was like, okay, I need to see a contract. He's like, yeah, sure, soon. Let's get you in the studio. Let's get you re-recording the track. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, but I need to see a contract first before I do anything. He's like, no, that's fine, but I really want to move forward with this. Let's get you recording in the studio ASAP. And this whole time I'm thinking, why does this guy want me in the studio so badly? Because I was working with Lean, actually.
Okay.
I think just dropped in, who's an absolute don, and he's got his own home studio, and Sevasi as well, bigger brother for me, really, really great guy. Both of those guys, amazing people, and we were recording stuff from Lean Studio. So I was like, yeah, that's fine, but we've got the studio, so we don't need to come to your studio. In fact, we can save you money by recording it in this studio. The guy's like, no, come, let's work. And years later, I now realize that whoever pays for the studio session owns the copyright. Owns the copyright, owns the masters. So what the guy was trying to do was get us in the studio and basically have the ownership of this song without me signing a contract. So anyway, I was longing it out because I refused to do anything until we had got a contract. And then we had some radio silence for a few months, and I chased it up and eventually found out that this guy had embezzled a good couple million out of this company and done a run. So, you know, I dodged a bullet there. And then kind of from there, it was just like, you know, I'm not really interested, because I'd been progressing my career regardless and thinking, well, what is a label can really do for me at this point? Around that same sort of time, I discovered Tech Nine, and he, you know, most successful independent rapper in the world, and he really just gave me a direction in terms of thinking, well, you know, like, this guy's funded it all himself. He's built up his base. He's done X, Y, and Z. No label. It's possible, because that's really what you want. You just want to be able to say, okay, yeah, it can be done. Because, Jen, you know what it's like. You talk to family and friends who aren't in the music industry, and you tell them, yeah, I'm a musician, I'm a rapper. Okay, so what, are you signed? Are you going on X Factor? What you should do, you need to start a YouTube channel. You heard about this iTunes thing? You need to get your music on there.
Oh, you should do a song with Eminem.
Yeah, right, real. I hadn't thought of that. Well, let me call him up now. You know what? That Drake guy. Have you heard of Drake? Yeah, get a song with him. That'll do. Yeah, it's just like, what? So, when you try and explain to people who don't understand music that you're independent and there's no label involved, and they want to know, you know, how are you making money? Is that even possible? Finally, just having Tech Nine in the back of my mind suddenly gave me a thought that, yeah, actually, you know what? It's achievable, maybe not to the degree that he's done it or in the same way, but that's someone I can look at and think, yeah, it's possible to succeed at this.
I've always thought, you know what, it's funny, I remember we were selling CDs, and I don't know if we were actually selling CDs or we were walking around. We were on Carnaby Street, so it was me AC, and we're walking down Carnaby Street, and I think as we're kind of walking, I think we were getting food, but as we're walking, we're like, yo, you like hip hop, whatever, and someone has stopped us, who worked for Sony at the time. And so she goes to AC. She was like, oh, what you doing? He's like, I'm selling my CD. And so she was like, oh, I work for Sony. I've got, we've just signed an act. Or no, I don't think she worked for Sony. I think she was a manager for an act who had just been signed to Sony. And so she goes to AC, or AC's asked her how many album singles did you sell, how many CDs did you sell, and she said like, oh yeah, we sold something like, oh, we sold 500 CDs already, or 1,000 CDs. AC just started laughing at her. Yeah.
Yeah, I know AC would as well. I know AC.
So she's kind of like going like what are you laughing at? And he's like, that's nothing. Like, we're doing it almost a month, innit? Like, that's like, and independently. And she's like, yeah, but you know, you need to come through us, and you need to be a part of the machine, and blah blah blah. And obviously, understanding the promotion, the label have a lot to offer. But when you're talking about how do you live off music, and how do you build on something, being independent offers you so much more flexibility, and you can be in a situation where you're not a big artist, but you're still living very well. And that's the bit that's always got me to be an independent artist. I've always been like, and I'm the same as you. I don't like being told what to do. My first deal got messed up badly because I was just always like, nope, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that. And then subsequent deals that were offered were always like, no, I can make more than that. I can make more than that. I can do that by myself. So you're kind of put in a position where I got to do it by myself now anyway.
I guess when you understand your value, it's very difficult to be lowballed on those sorts of things. And the question is as to whether or not it's a good thing or not, because, you know, the label's got certain powers and certain doors that they can open for you, assuming you're their artist and you're the artist they want to push. Because a lot of people forget, or at least don't realize, that number one, probably about 98 to 99% of acts who are signed to labels get dropped. Number two, labels have absolutely no obligation to release any of your music. And one thing that always got me was that a label might sign you just because you sound similar to an artist that they are actually trying to push. So what they want to do is take you out of the running, hold on to you, sit on you, not let you release anything, so that artist can go clear and they've got no competition. So signing a deal doesn't really mean anything. Fundamentally, it's kind of like, what do you do with that? And if you're able to do the same, if not better, but on a lower scale independently, then more power to you, because then you're not giving away a percentage of your income to them.
I think like, so you being a law student, obviously that kind of gave you a certain insight into the game, because I feel like for the majority of artists, that's the part they fall down on. Because we can have this, you can have knowledge of the game and knowledge of how things work, but it's always the legality is where not just signed artists, but all kinds of artists get tripped up. That's where things become hard. So do you feel that's definitely, well, I feel that should give you definitely a leg up to kind of see past the bullshit.
Do you know what? I think going to university in general and just studying some sort of degree and being forced to do research and to rely on my own knowledge to get through stuff gave me the mentality I needed to turn that into to progress my business. Right. You know, and certainly reading through X amount of contracts has definitely helped. But I don't like to read my own contracts. If it's a serious contract, I pass it on to an actual lawyer because I, of course, can still make mistakes. But just having the knowledge and the I guess the self-confidence to know that, okay, I've got a brain in my head and I can do certain things, encouraged me to sit down and learn about stuff. Right. Like when I first heard about PRS, I sat down and I learned about that, and I learned about PL, and it was, you know, music, because fundamentally I was studying law because I wanted to be a music lawyer. Right. And my tutor at the time turned around and said, oh, well, there's not really any real entertainment lawyers in the UK at the moment, and there's not very many firms. It's incredibly competitive. What you should do is do the legal practice course and study contract law, and then maybe at some point you can transfer over to that. And to me, that sounded long. I was like, well, I realized that the only reason I wanted to be a music lawyer was because I wanted to be as close to music as possible. So I as well stop faking it and just go and do it, really. So and I haven't really had a proper job since then. Since university, I've just been making my living from music and music related activities, and those activities kind of diversify and change. But fundamentally, it all comes from the fact that I built something as a rapper, and I've built a reputation, and therefore people either want to pay me for what I've made, or pay me for my knowledge, or just pay me to turn up and sit down and look at other people. You know, that's
a really good point as well, and it's something I bring up a lot. Like I've never had a job that didn't come from. Actually, that's a lie. I've had a few jobs that didn't come from music, but ever since I've been serious about music, every job I've had where real money's been made has been because I rap. the knowledge I have.
It's because you've created yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
Genesis Elijah are, for want of a better word, a commodity in and of itself. You are valuable, regardless of whether you're on a mic or whatever, or if you're speaking to young people, etc., etc. You've created yourself as somebody who is worth paying for their time.
Yeah, yeah. So let's you mentioned about getting educated and really learning the game. So you've started doing actually, I don't even know fully what it is. So it's a hip hop degree, right?
No, it's a degree. It's a creative artist degree for an MC specifically. So it's essentially what it is that you can go to university, you can study classical music, you can study how to play the piano, you can study how to be a guitarist, you can go to a rock school and be in a band, you can be a singer-songwriter, and you can go to like the Brit School or any other university and learn that discipline. But if you're a rapper or an MC, there is actually no course available to help you in your craft, and there's no educators who understand that discipline, who can say, look, your flow needs work here, or maybe think about this kind of wordplay, or listen to this artist, and etc., etc., etc. And to me, that felt really wrong, especially because, I mean, I don't even need to say it. We know where hip hop is. Yeah. We know how powerful that kind of music is. There's no deny. You can't ever tell me it's some sort of fringe genre. It dominates the charts. So why is it that there's no support for the artists who make it, and for the upcoming artists who make it? Because the only way I learned was to kind of just make it up and make mistakes and work it out. Yeah. And that shouldn't be the only avenue that's available. There should be far more other opportunities to learn. University isn't for everybody. Yeah. You know, nobody is saying that in order to be a successful rapper, you have to go to university and study a degree in this sort of thing. But if you are that way inclined, you should have the availability to do that. In the same way that, you know, Adele went to the Brit School. Yeah. I don't think the Brit School in and of itself created Adele or made Adele who she is, but it helped, you know? Yeah. Those sort of institutions and things have a place for the artists who need them, and I just think that there needed to be some sort of course or some sort of support for artists who wanted to study and learn their craft at a university level.
So, all right, you say there's no place for rappers to learn the craft in that way, right? There's no courses in that.
Not at a university level. Okay. It's definitely like college and outreach programs and community programs, and I think those are flipping fantastic. But it gets to a point where you want to be talking about like creating your business and doing X, Y, and Z, right? And taking it to the next step.
But is this indicative to, like, in my mind, as you're saying, I'm thinking it sounds to me it's almost indicative of black cultural arts. And not in just arts. I feel like the culture itself, like the way we create, a lot of things is because we say, you know, it's created from the soul. So if you think about hip hop music, okay, cool. But I'm thinking about like food, and one thing sticks out in my mind, like my nan, if you ever asked her like, oh, how do you make that cake or whatever, like what's the ingredients, like she wouldn't tell you like. She would tell you like, 100 grams of this and like, you put this in and that much. And how long do you cook it for? Enough, like till it's done, innit? And I feel like there's so much of that in our culture. We're very much like, just like, man, you just do it. It comes from the soul when you just move it.
But let me ask you this: where did your nan learn it from? Because I guarantee you it was either from her mum or from a family member.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, but not everybody who wants to be a rapper or an MC is lucky enough to have a musical family or a musical background. Yeah. So at that point, how do you learn? You probably go online, you listen to your favorite artists, and maybe you learn how to rap, but how do you learn? But where and how do you learn how to get the music to the people? Yeah. How do you learn what a DSP is? How do you learn how to get your music on Spotify and all of that? How do you learn how to film a music video, or how not to get screwed over in a deal? Or when to get somebody to look at a contract for you? Those sorts of things, like either you get a manager on board, or you get someone who's got a vested interest, who's probably going to be taking a percentage or charging you just for this knowledge. I just think that that sort of thing needs to be a bit more readily available for artists. It's the business side. The thing about the course is, it's for me, it's not even so much about teaching people how to rap, because if I have to teach you how to rap, then you probably shouldn't be on the course.
Yeah.
What you should be learning is how to be more professional with it,
Right.
how to actually turn this into a career, how to make a living from what you do, how to build a fan base out of what you do and make it sustainable, how to be professional. Ultimately, not come into the room and think, oh well, yeah, because I can spit, like I deserve this X, Y, and Z, and like I should be played on this station. And it's like, no, it don't work like that. And to be able to hear it from experienced artists who know what it's been like and who've been there, done that, I think you can't really pay for that kind of knowledge.
It's interesting as well, yeah, because I always say, and I always feel like, as far as being a talented rapper, man, I got bars. I can hang with anyone, man. But that's not. I don't feel that's the reason why I'm where I am. I always feel it's definitely just the mindset of how I think about it, and it's, to me, it's always
100%.
been a business. As far as the bars are what come from the heart, and you do it for the love. But the moment it leaves that element of me, I'm like, right, this is business. And I feel like you're the same way.
Your work rate is phenomenal, man.
It's just the hard work, but to me, that's a different side of things as well. Like that, I've spoken about this before. I think sometimes the work is just me running away from real life, but it works for me, innit, man. But like, I think you as well. You're someone who always has, like, you know what I love, bro. It's what I love. Yeah, I love seeing something and going, bro, how did man do that? Like to me, that feeling, because it's in business and rap, yeah, they're so competitive, and this game is so competitive, and I'm always, because I always need, like, where's the bit, where do I need the bullseye, who am I following, like who do I like to keep me moving. And I love seeing you do things. So when you did like the headphones, like to me that was just like, damn, that's so sick. And all these different, all the moves that you do, it's something that I definitely feel there's so much value in what you've done to be teaching those others coming up, because there's so many things that you've done that will put a lot of these guys on a path where, again, it's not about the headphones, it's not about the CDs, it's about the mindset. It's like, I'm looking for ways to come up, I'm looking for ways to be more professional in what I do,
and to ultimately create a brand from what you do, and to think about like long-term income. Because this is what it is. And I was contemplating today how deep of a recession we're about to go into. And it's at times like that you definitely want to have some sort of residual or some sort of royalties coming in, where you can think, okay, well, if I'm not getting booked, at least I've got a little bit of money coming in and I can still continue to do what I love. Because somebody in the chat just seen too many people will work hard for a boss but not enough for their own brand, and it's totally true. Like, if that's you, fair play to you, if that's what you want to do. But I'm selfish. Put it that way. I don't want to put all of my work in to see somebody else win when I've got my own dreams and I've got my own things going on. And I know I'd be wasted in a big faceless company, because it's just like, there's so many different things that I do and can do and I don't know that I can do, that there's no role that you could put me in that would properly utilize my skills. So best to just leave me alone and let me do what I'm doing, and then pay me when you see something you like.
So let's talk about another skill, another thing that I think is nuts, the manga, the comic.
I forget about that.
Like that again, that's just, to me, it's just crazy. And I think like it's such a I always look for the things you can do that have I don't know, man. Like, what can it can go big. It can go big. It can be bigger, and it's something that stands alone from you. Like, it's even though it is about you, but it's something that's someone who doesn't even know you can just pick that up and be like, yo, what's this? How did that come about?
I'm a nerd. I'll tell you where it started, because this kind of thing has come like really full circle for me. So when I was 11, I went to New York with my dad. And we were in my aunt's house, and I was sitting down watching TV with my cousins, and Dragon Ball Z came on.
Right.
Now, bear in mind, I'm coming from UK TV, where we get like the American throwbacks. We're still on like Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life, Rugrats, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, Clarissa Explains It All, that kind of thing, right? So, and the best cartoons we're getting is like Cow and Chicken,
Yeah.
although Powerpuff Girls was lit.
It's hard.
All of that kind of stuff. So Dragon Ball Z comes on, and I see a brother punching next guy in the face. This guy gets like whacked through the chest with a beam and dies, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't know cartoons were this. So I was hooked on this now. So like my whole summer in New York, I was spending watching Dragon Ball Z. I come back to the UK, and luckily Toonami became a thing and they brought it over.
Right.
But all I wanted was just to do a Kamehameha. So I'm like, well, how do I do this? And I thought, okay, well, let me start learning Kung Fu, because surely that'll be the way I do it. So started learning Kung Fu, got really, really into it. I was training like 4 or 5 times a week by the time I was 15. And I was watching a lot of Kung Fu movies, a lot of anime, that kind of stuff. And I thought, you know what? I want to go to China. I want to go to the source of where this is, and just kind of, it's all well and good learning it here, but I want to go to the man them who know it. So I found a school for that would take in foreigners out in China. Saved up some money and went when I was 18. I just packed up, took a gap year from university and just went on my own. And it was when I was on the plane halfway to China, I realized I might have just paid money to some scam in China, and there'll be nobody there. And I had an 11-hour stopover in Doha, by the way, so that didn't help. And you can't sleep in Doha airport. You definitely can't. Yeah, so arrived in China, and luckily there were 2 brothers with a sign waiting for me. And so we then had like another 7-hour drive up a mountain to this random school, and I think I arrived at 10 p.m. and they gave me my food. It was like literally some bread and some eggs and some chips. I think that's what they thought foreigners ate. And then I went to sleep and woke up in this Shaolin school, and I was like, I don't know what's going on or where I am. The bed was hard as a rock, and
that's nuts.
Hated it at first, but by the end of my time there, I can't sleep on a soft bed anymore. But yeah, anyway, long story short, my second day there, I walk into the bathroom and somebody had taken a dump on the floor, and at that point, like, no, I want to go home. I am not. No.
Oh like, my god.
Like this. And China's different as well. Like I've got a lot of love for the Chinese people, but it's different there. Like, I don't know if you've been, but
no, I've never been to mainland.
Okay, well, I'll drop this on people. The stalls, when you want to go for a number 2, the public stalls, at least in the place I was, they're not like private. They're cut off like halfway, so you will sit down and you can look to your left or right and see the person next to you and have a conversation with them.
Hell no.
Whilst you're vacating your bowels. I mean, I play that. I'm not, no. Like, don't talk to me when I'm on the toilet, So for the first week, I refused to use the bathroom because I just couldn't get my head around it. But eventually, nature calls, and I had to just wait until everyone was out of training and then just go and do my business. But there was a lot of culture shock things there for me. But I eventually got into it, and we were training we were waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, running down the mountain and running back up, training, then breakfast, then training, then lunch, then training, then dinner, then optional training. You're going to bed at maybe 8 or 9 p.m. so that you can wake up. Because if you don't wake up at 5, teacher's going to come and find you and hit you with something sharp. So you woke up. And then on the weekends, we went and got a massage, and it wasn't one of those like massage. It was an actual
that mad boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, like your entire muscles, everything broken down. So during that time, I was just writing lyrics because obviously I took 36 Chambers out there, and I was listening to that, listening to my Ludacris. Ludacris was the reason I wanted to rap in the first place. But I had my downtime, and I was thinking, well, let me just write some lyrics. And it was kind of there where, big up Songer. It was there where my style developed.
Right.
And that's kind of where the name Shao Dow came from, because it was just like, I want to represent this monumental change in my life, because everything about, we were talking about university, but realistically, I think my entire worldview and the way I look at things and think about things changed from the moment I went to China and started learning Kung Fu, just because sorts of people I was around. There was an 80-year-old man doing knuckle push-ups every morning. People weren't talking about what clothes are you wearing, what shoes have you got, what car do you have. They were talking about, do you know this form? this weapon and use it? Can you fight? Can you do this? What is your technique like? They cared about the character, the quality of the man, not what you're wearing or not what you can buy. And that to me made such a big difference. And I think that's always stuck with me. And despite the fact I keep talking about wanting to go back there, I still haven't been back there. But I got from it was, yeah, life changing. And
but I think that's like just not to say to cut you, but I think
No,
that like really encapsulates your kind of your style on the mic, because I feel like in rap, in hip hop, in grime, a lot of us come from the same place, but we kind of come we traveled in a straight line. Like we've come from where we were to where we are now, and there's not a lot of the world that's been seen, the world view. And I feel like because you've been out of that bubble and seen different things, it translates in your style and how you come across and just being different. And I've always thought, I think the first time, you remember when we did the video shoot for Assemble?
Yes, I do. Yeah, that was sick. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I met you in that tunnel and we filmed the thing.
So that was probably the first time I actually spent like proper time with you, yeah. And you were still, I think you had crutches.
Yeah.
Right? And man just bust out the sword, like or the staff or whatever you had. And
it was
still
an umbrella.
The umbrella. Like man was listen, it was a weapon, man. It was a weapon. Yeah. And still do it, and I was just thinking, like, to me, that's so sick, because it's like you're doing something that's different, but you're not afraid to do it. You're just being yourself in a genre, where it's a lot of people ain't themselves, man. A lot of people aren't comfortable with themselves. And obviously now we see it a lot more, but I feel like back then it was still way more people people were trying to be something. They were trying to be rappers, trying to be MCs. And that's definitely like, I feel like that's definitely helped you as well. And I see like the support you get from your fans and supporters. I think I supported you when you did a show in and you and Zuby did a tour. Bournemouth.
Yeah.
When with Isaiah Drez was a little kid. I swear Isaiah Drez was like 13 or something. Yeah. And he had his mum there, like big up Isaiah. But like, and just seeing that there's different, like, to me, one of the things I love is when I'm at someone's show is see who are the kind of people that support them, and just seeing like the diversity in it, because everyone speaks about, you're diverse. Are you really though? Like, you're only as diverse as your supporters, really. Like the music you're making, who do you relate to? And I feel like that's definitely like a strong point for what you do.
I just think that your fans should be a representation of what you're about and what your music is about. You should be able to just hang with your fans and have similar interests, regardless of aside from the music.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, because I just realized I didn't even answer your question. So going back, so I came back from China now, started my music career, XYZ, built it to where it was. And the whole time I'm thinking, I really would love to just be an anime character or a manga character. That's, and like I said, it started with Dragon Ball, and I've watched a lot of different animes and mangas, and I don't just watch stuff, I analyze it, and I think, how did you do that? How did you tell this story? What works about this story? What doesn't? And just a story started formulating in my mind, something that I wanted to tell. And fundamentally what the manga is for me is just a way of not only telling my story, but also hopefully educating aspiring artists on the amount of work and dedication and fundamentally sacrifice. Because I've lost a lot, like so much, just pursuing this dream. I've had to turn, I was accepted to the Oxford Institute of Legal Practice, for instance, and I turned that down. I've lost relationships over this stuff, of friendships, girlfriends, all sorts, money, lots of money. And I think people just see the end product and think, I want to be that, and they don't realize the journey and the work and everything that goes into it. And I can kind of tell that through the music, but I think visually representing that through an artistic medium such as manga has been the way forward. And like I said, it's now kind of come full circle, because I've created the manga, and now I'm starting to do like theme songs for cartoons and things like that, and talking to voice actors who've voiced some of my favorite anime characters, and actually having conversations on the phone with these people. And I'm like, I still can't believe it. It's like it all started with Dragon Ball Z, me, and it's kind of, and that's where it's come from, and the kung fu and the martial arts over and above the university and the law stuff, and just a love for music and a desire to just be free with what I do and just create and just entertain.
Yeah. It's a blessing to see, man. And I feel like, because I always have this idea that if you follow your path, so following your path is following the things you love, everything good just comes to you. You don't have to, you'll get what you're getting. And it's funny that you mentioned about the sacrifice, because that's the bit that you're right, people just don't see. And it's always like, it's the mad ones when you get something big. It could, whatever it is, whether it's a big bag or whether it's just a big look or whatever, and people see that and they're like, yo, I can't believe you smashed it. And it's just like, you don't even like, there's so many things that I've missed out on to be here, and half of the things you wouldn't have missed out on, like you wouldn't have done it. So it's like the sacrifice.
Probably spent like double if not triple that amount of money, like establishing yourself and getting yourself to the point where you can command that kind of fee. It's really funny as well, because you know, a story that I really like to tell, especially when people try and ask me to do stuff for exposure, or tell me that, can I get you on this track, but there's no budget for it. I'm like, that's cool. You know, come back to me when there is one, politely. But you know, I've long gone past the point where I'm working for free now, because I have done X, Y, and Z, spent X amount of money, put in X amount of work where, you know, I am worth something. And it was it reminds me of a story that I really love, which was that I don't know if this is true or not, but Pablo Picasso was in a cafe just chilling out, waiting for his coffee or cappuccino or whatever the hell he drinks, I don't know, and he was doodling on a napkin, just drawing something. And he draws it, looks at it, and it's like, cool. Then screws it up and puts it in his pocket. A woman who was watching him, and she kind of leans over and goes, he's Picasso at this point. She leans over and goes, "Excuse me, are you going to do something with that?" He's like, "Oh, no, I'm going to probably throw it away later." And she's like, "Could I have it, please? You know, would you mind if I have it? I'd love to display this. It's a Picasso after all." And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine. 10 grand. She's like, but you were going to throw it away. And he was like, yeah, I can throw it away because, you know, I've reached that level where I can determine whether or not it's worth throwing away. But the only reason you want it is because I've invested this amount of time, this amount of money, this amount of hard work, this amount of sacrifices into getting to the point where something I'm going to dash in the bin is worth you asking me for it. So if you want it, this is my value, because I've created this value by putting in this amount of work and this amount of effort." I don't know if you...
but either way, it illustrates the point, man. I love the idea of like doing a show, and people be like, how much you charge for a show, whatever, and you be like, $1,000 or whatever, and then be like, but it's only 20 minutes. Like, it's a 20-minute show. It's like, yeah, but it took me 20 years to get here, innit? Like, it's not, you're not paying for. I know it's that's not how we do things.
I think that's the problem, because there's a lot of artists, number one, who are happy to work for exposure, and there's also a lot of labels, music industry professionals, gatekeepers, promoters who are more than happy to take advantage of an artist who just wants to be heard, wants to create a fan base, wants to enjoy themselves on stage, and wants to do what they love. So they pay you an exposure. Or if you're lucky, travel costs. Or if you're unlucky, drinks. And the one I always loved when I was coming up was, well, I don't drink, so we're gonna have to find another way for you to pay me, because it's not gonna be an alcohol.
Mad. It's funny, like there's only one show that I've didn't turn up for, that I was there to do, and the reason I didn't do it, so we had turned up to the show, and the promoter, he's talking. He's like, yeah, man. I had Rodney P and Skits here last month or whatever. They wanted $1,500, yeah, and I was like, nah. He was like, nah. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. And they were like, all right, cool. And I think they did it for like £500 or something, which is way under the asking price. And he's like, yeah, man, I got him down to that. Yeah, man, but we made loads of money on the night. I was like, what? And
why is he telling you that?
Yeah, like it was a mad one as well. And then we got there. I can't remember where this was, man. It's mad, because we got there, and then I was just like, actually, you know what? I'm not performing. And he was like, what's the matter? I was like, I'm still just give my money. And I think Terror went and got the money off him.
Yeah.
And we just went in, and then we went on stage, told the fans, yo guys, this promoter's a dick. I can't remember where the place was. I think who was there? I can't remember who else was performing, man. But yeah, we destroyed that night. But it was just like, why are you disrespecting? Like, why are you like this? And you see that a lot. You see a lot of promoters, and that's why when I work with good promoters or promoters that are really honest, I'll try and come down if I can for promoters who are really in it for the right reasons. So it's a weird game, bro.
It's really weird, and you know, it's. I was speaking to somebody else about this today, but in an industry where fundamentally the entire thing revolves around people like you and me, the artists, we're the ones who actually get the raw end of the deal. Like, everybody else seems to be doing very well from the music industry, aside from most of the artists. And then you got like the upper echelons who are doing extremely well, but then the kind of the middle ground ones, the ones who aren't like there but are doing all right. We're still, you know, it's kind of like you look at Spotify, not just Spotify, in fact, because I don't want to be unfair, but you look at streaming figures. And I think it's becoming far more relevant now because we can't go out and perform, and there's X amount of other things that we were meant to be doing that we can't do because you know, can't leave the house. So then you start to think, okay, well, at least my music's selling. Oh wait, no, it's not, because I get paid a fourth of a penny for every play. And I've been actually talking to the musicians union about this because it's something I'm actually very passionate about, and something I want to get involved in to try and help change the landscape for streaming for artists, and start getting artists paid a fairer wage. And this is something I've been doing a lot more of recently, like
because you're a big part of AIM as well, right?
AIM, the FAC, the Featured Artists Coalition. I won the AIM award for the hardest working artist, actually, so that's where I was involved there. But Featured Artists Coalition, definitely. And just very UK music as well, just various organizational bodies. And as I've gotten older, I've started to think not just for myself, but also about the wider industry for other artists as well. So I went to Parliament to speak on behalf of small music venues and grassroots music venues who were suffering because councils are charging them like business rates when these guys are barely even making any money to stay open in the first place. But they're booking artists to bring them down in order to spread culture and in order to give people stuff to do in these small towns and stuff like that, you know. But yet they can't keep their doors open because the taxes and the rates are too much. So we went to Parliament to speak about that, and managed to get some businesses that were going to close down protected status, like the 100 Club, which is the UK's oldest live music venue, got protected status. And Jeff Horton, the owner, fantastic guy, you know, he deserves it fundamentally because they've had people like Nas on. It's a proper historic venue, and it was going to close down because they just couldn't afford to keep their doors open. So, you know, we take that, and I just think something positive for the better. I've been involved in actually helping change the landscape of this country's music industry, and that's not just through music but through being who I am. And that's the kind of thing I want to do. I want to leave a legacy through various mediums, through music, through manga, through inspiration, through education, all of that. So I guess my next crusade is now thinking about streaming and thinking about how artists are actually able to live and survive. And if you want to be an independent artist in this day and age, can you? Just, you know, if you're focusing on streaming and YouTube and all of that, can you even make enough money by being creative? You need like multi-millions views and streams in order to even make a half decent income, and that's unacceptable to me. So it's something I'm taking really, really seriously.
Because it's funny because I always see it as like, I know how to make money independently, being an artist, and it's not through the streaming. The streaming doesn't help. And even doing like we talk about doing the live shows. The live shows, that's where you make your money. But again, it has to be done right, because again, if you're working with dodgy promoters or you're not getting the most out of it, and it really comes from education. It really comes from knowing. And I think that's another thing you were early on, was doing your own shows. And it's funny as well, because I'm talking like years ago, telling people, yo, guys, this is the way we got to go, where we got to take it. And I think I know it's a risk, I know it's hard, but at the same time, you're giving yourself a foundation to really build on. You're in a position where you're understanding the value of a consumer, the value of a supporter, and really giving them the best, really giving them value for their money. And I feel like that's what a lot of artists don't really get. They don't understand the exchange. They feel like, because what happens is a lot of people, they look at who are the big artists. They look at Jay-Z, they look at Drake, they look at all these guys, and they go, right, you're the star, so when I'm an artist, I'm gonna be the star and everyone's gonna come to me. And it's like, nah, it don't work that way. And I think what you did as well with, again, we're talking about branding with DIY Gang, it's you and your supporters. It ain't just you and everyone's like, you know what I mean, all praise you. It's like, nah, we're in this together and we're moving forward. And I think that's such a, it's, even that in itself is such an amazing blueprint for an independent artist.
Yeah, and you know, it's, for me, and I totally agree with everything you're saying, but it's just small things as well. Like I will respond to messages on like Instagram DM and Twitter DMs and things like that, and people will be like, I can't believe you responded.
Yeah.
It's like, but you messaged me. What do you mean? my mama raised me right. How do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it just seems to me that a lot of artists are caught up in the superstardom before they've even properly released any music and stuff like that. They're looking at all of the accolades and the attention and everything, and not just appreciating the very lifeblood of what it is you do, which is the fans. It's the supporters. It's the people who listen to you, who want to put their hand in their pocket and spend money on what you do. God bless those people, because that's really the only reason I've had a career for as long as I've had it. You know,
same.
it's people like that who love what I do and who love what you do, who are willing to support it, shout about it, watch it, listen to it, come to the shows. And you want to disrespect those people in favor of impressing a DJ or a record label exec. No, I'm good, you know? Yeah.
Nah, man, it's been a inspirational chat, man. I want to thank you for your time.
That's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
And there was other few things I wanted to touch on real quick about your just your video vision in general. Like, you always come with just these cold videos. I swear you're the only UK rapper I've ever seen on a horse, man.
Did Dizzy do it? Didn't Dizzy do it?
Oh, did he? All right, cool. But
wasn't it? No, he wasn't on the horse. He was being chased by brothers on a horse.
See.
Funny story about that. I don't know how to ride a horse. What it is normally when I go for a music video, I've already conceptualized it. I know exactly what I'm doing, etc., etc., etc. But for Burnout, I approached the video director, a guy I've worked with a few times, Matthew Carlton-Bourne, who's absolutely fantastic. I said, look, dude, you come up with this, because if I come up with the idea, it's going to have fighting, weapons, and ninja and all sorts. And we've done that. So give me a different idea. He's like, okay, it sounds like a Western. I see you on a horse. And I'm like, okay, can I have a sword? He said, yeah. I was like, okay, fine. Cool, let's do it. So then I had to work out where to get a horse. Now, this horse, I like to call it was a 2-horse. It was a 2 information horse. It was 3 key pieces of information this horse needed to know. It could only retain 2. So they taught me how to make it stop, how to make it go, and how to make it turn. This horse only knew about go and turn. No, not about stop. So for the first half of the video, we're filming, and I just had to make the horse go, turn it in a circle, and I was just doing a big circle because there was no point that this horse was going to stop. So we was just like, look, film what you need to film, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm just gonna take the horse round, and we'll be back to film the next part. Now, eventually, we had to make the horse stop so that we could get some close up and some hero shots and whatnot. Now, Matthew's getting close to the horse with the camera. I don't think the horse really liked this camera very much because it bolted. And it bolted with me on it. At this point, this horse started trotting. Then it started galloping, and I'm on the back of this horse with a sword at and I'm like, I'm actually gonna die here. This is where I'm gonna die, and it's being filmed. So this is officially a snuff film. So I just decided, you know what? If I'm gonna die like a boss. So I get down on the horse. I'm in it. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I'm grabbing reins. I'm pulling this horse all over the place, and I don't know where it came from, but I just started cussing this horse out in a Cockney accent, and I don't know why or how, but I'm like, listen, you're gonna stop right now, and you're not gonna get. I was just going, and the horse actually stopped, right? So I lived, and at this point now, the horse knew how to start and stop, but it forgot how to turn. So we just filmed the rest of the video in a straight line, and that was the video. And it looked all right because of the magic of editing, but yeah, I fully almost died riding that horse.
Hey guys, you gotta go see that video, man. The video for Burnout. It's hilarious. I think I messaged you straight after watching it. I was just like, nah, this is just levels. Like, again, man, I just love seeing people do different things and just not be afraid, man. And it's the only way the scene grows. Like, do you know what? There's bare other stuff we can get into, but what I want to do is I'm gonna have after lockdown's finished, we get the studio up. We're gonna have you in studio and do this proper, man. Then we can like show people artwork and all that kind of stuff.
I've had a haircut by then as well, so I won't need the one piece hat.
Bro, I got like the do rag. So this is how this is my setup right now. So the do rag, because my hair's not even plaited now either. Yeah, so it's just like afro. So the do rag kind of holds it down. The hair's like sticking at the back. Yeah, like. And then the hat goes over the do-rag. Like, that's all I can do.
And the thing is, at least you got a 30 beard. Like my beard not working for me at the moment. It's not really going anywhere.
I got to do a video shoot tomorrow, like or day after. So I don't know how, like, without a shape up on the beard. But luckily it kind of goes with the song. So, but it's all mad. So what have you got planned over this quarantine period? Have you got new projects coming out, or you working on new things?
So like I said, I'm working on a theme song for a TV show at the moment. So I'll be announcing that when I'm allowed to announce it. I'm actually putting out a new song next week. I just decided I'm doing if anyone's a fan of Final Fantasy VII, I just did a Sephiroth track just for the hell of it, so I'm putting that out. I'm gonna be writing volume 2 of the manga. So right now the manga's doing really well. So if anybody is interested in that, just go to my website diygang.co.uk. And yeah, just more music. I'm in my studio at the moment, and I'm just trying to put it together and turn it into a fully creative space. And I just want to put out as much music as possible.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. Well, you know what I mean. Look forward to all of that. Obviously, man's always supporting. Always supporting the moves, bro. You know how it is. You know how we go.
So it goes straight back to you, bro. I'm always 100%. Happy to check out.
I see it. Always happy. I see it, man. I see it. Trust me.
I'm in the comments, man. Don't worry, I'm in the comments.
It means a lot, man. It means a lot, man. We come a long way. We got a long way to go, and we're doing it, man. It's a blessing to see. So, brother, stay blessed. Let me say goodbye to the people, and I'll come back. Guys, man. Thank you so much. I apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning. I'm gonna put a link to Shao Dow's website in the description of this video. So if you're not watching this live, it'll be in there as soon as we come off the air, and I can put it in. Big up everyone in the chat, like mad supportive. I big up all the Shao Dow fans supporting. It's good to see, big to see. Yeah, man, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the likes. We're gonna be back tomorrow. Shotty horror. And we're going to keep things moving. Guys, stay blessed, stay safe, look after your people, stay healthy. And I'll see you tomorrow, man. Peace.